Once upon a time, a land a ways away, Biblically lives on the couch, while chilling out with me. Totally toasted, guessing about some of this life that we have made, where we live to live the life we lead, we're living life away. I have the lines that lead to laid plans that seem to be laid by my fellow man. Black sheep and white elephants aside, my friend, come again, representing an angel in my head. I'm an artist of war, an advisor for hire, to coax the flame that makes up the fire. In the living room between the coldest form of waging war and a preacher in comfy attire, I tire. First thing you should know in existence, reminiscence doesn't mean shit in a minute. Get it, bitch, I said it, this business is listless and time is better spent abstaining ex-Sismas. I've moaned to vanish, need to pay it no mind. On the road to riches, listen, this is what you'll find. A road to El Dorado or something of that kind. You can feel it in the music if you give it time. Try and befriend the men you see me trotting with. Snakes in the grass is what I'm rotting with. Don't want the love of my neighbors, so then we're acting as strangers, never in danger of the designs of the player I wager. It's freaky shit if you get what I'm saying. To coax the flame that makes up the fire in the living room between the coldest form of waging war and a preacher in comfy attire, I'm tired. And in my trials, I'm preaching better state of mind. For the love, fuck the lust that I came to find. Cannot enter into alliances till we know the designs of our neighbors. Gotta know if that shit's benign. Look at that, Madre, I'm quoting shit now. Wow, no longer am I wearing a frown. Looking down out the window to drown out the noises with voices from my melodic sounds. Now I realize the gravity of relativity and why so many people unanimously agree that everything going on is not what it seems. Do you believe what I'm saying? Gravity is more than just why apples fall from trees, why stars, moons, planets, and black holes came to be. It's a pressure on the mind reminding me that if I stumble, I fall down. So woe is me if I trip and not get 5 fucking A's in all of my classes. Bitch, I'm passing while scrambling to get into acting. I'm planning, managing against the odds, trying to keep my balance. What can I say? It's damning. To coax the flame that makes up the fire in the living room between the coldest form of waging war and a preacher in comfy attire, inquire. The enemy of self are those that view it as discardable, since they're surely discarding their own. It's deplorable. It's business. They say, I'm sure you'd do the same. That's a lie they hear in the back of their brain. Let me give you a tour about the art of war. The lessons I've learned laid out in my hands to understand the plans of my fellow man. Presented as an adversary, I digress, I'm very wary. Spies are the most important elements in war. Never before has there been a form of an army able to move along our detour. Be subtle. Use spies for every kind of business. They're listening to prove it, so be sure to tune in. I've learned that rapidity is the essence of war. Therefore, repetition is my mission to find out what I'm here for. Shit's ridiculous. The secrets I'm keeping are leaping from my brain onto the polyester-covered floorboards. They're listening, or so I've heard, to coax the flame that makes up the fire in the living room between the coldest form of waging war and a preacher in comfy attire, I tire. Struggling to recall is my fault. That's what you want to hear? Then I'm better off just bearing it for another year? Tell me why that's where you're at. What are you doing here? And I fear that tears for fears missed by a couple years. It's setting in, amalgamations of emotions that I feel within. Explanations to why ghosts are trying to wear my skin. Rarely haunting for long, don't miss them till they're gone. Show up expectantly unexpected to haunt me until it dawns on me. I'm sorry, I know you waited so long. You wanted an extra life, so you used me as a pawn. I've been there before, so don't get me wrong, but my life is mine, so you see, and I'll tell you in this song. I know it's lit to light the flame and coax the fire that lights the living room between the coldest form of waging war and a preacher in comfy attire, yet I tire. Need I say more?
When you are dying, it is important to remain as calm as possible. There are a myriad of ways in which moving faster than necessary not only impedes you, but also potentially cuts the length of time you perceive to have.
Oh shit, I declare that this is it. Time to either grow a pair or we split, missing it. And I'm weighing out my options and proceeded through with caution. But with damage to my brain, the gauntlet does seem awfully daunting and I'm nauseous. My body's filling up with toxins. I've lost a switch inside my brain that's telling me to stop it. I can't stop it. While I drop it, it was locked when I found it. Around it was loud, but now it's confounding. My heart on my head, I'm feeling the pounding. Surroundings are crowding. It's mounting, insurmountable drip feet to the drowning while touting the rowdy. How about it? Call it allotted, allowed in my office. I can't do without it. Or maybe I confuse can't with won't. Either way, it falls on deafened ears as I light another smoke. Going to college for free when living in proximity. I can't afford that fucking fee, but that's just between you and me. A unit of space, woe is me. Keeping track of time ticking. Raced in the hallways of glee, but that's just between you and me. We the people thinking to be Russian is crazy, but lately I've been emotional. I've been running on empty. I'm betting while you have time to be sitting around and guessing. I'm testing, messing with blessings and fantasizing about pensions and pressing all the insecurities until it gets messy. Don't test me, I've seen this all before, so you keep telling me, so help me. If you say I'm doing fine, even one more fucking time, cause it's not for you to judge when you cross over my lines. Going to college for free, YouTube University, tuition be taking the lead, but that's just between you and me. Getting high definitely, it may or may not impede me. Raised in the hallways of glee, but that's just between you and me. Going to college for free when living in proximity. I can't afford that fucking fee, but that's just between you and me. A unit of space, woe is me. Keeping track of time ticking. Raised in the hallways of glee, but that's just between you and me. Who the fuck am I? I'm just a guy living life from 10 to 9, killing time while putting lives upon the lines. Is it a crime for me to want more than the rations that bind my life to my nation, who want me to cower and hide? Going to college for free when living in proximity. I can't afford that fucking fee, but that's just between you and me. A unit of space, woe is me. Keeping track of time ticking. Raised in the hallways of glee, but that's just between you and me.
People are haunted by ghosts. So much trauma is internalized, it starts to leak out and function similar to gravity. The more trauma, the more potential gravity of the situation. When are you aware of the potential gravity or vibe?
You call it a fair fight if you break the rules. I'm gonna show the entire Naruto series to my children. I'll make it a thing we do, like a movie night, but with a couple episodes of Naruto every time. And if they want to learn more about the world without watching the show, I'll get the manga for them. In my time, I have tried to surmise trading card games, all unique in their own way, yet it seems I can play all of them. Finding the right one's the task in of itself though, cause what do you mean? Everyone wants to play their own TCG, or is that just me? The American dream is a meme for those without things, those with no dream of their own to pursue, disheartening. It's in pursuit of this dream that people buy into capitalism, it seems.
Looks like low tide.
Seeing the Hidden Leaf grow over time made me realize how many side characters accrue if you give it mind. You don't need to learn anything about them, not even their names, but they help keep the world from being barren and empty. One also accounts all the cards one has access to. Games love rules to explain how their cards are something new. Is it true so many labels make space for new ideas few? Pews, PEMDAS, potentiality, and range win the game for the new? There's more to governance than just handling conflict. How do you fix the problem if there's no way to solve it? For the last time, I'm not gonna buy a Toyota Tacoma or Forever 21 Disney high fashion for me or my mama. If a fool is foolish, it fools those around them, holding up other fools when they stop to fool with it. Others see the situation and do one of three things about it. Avoid the fools, manipulate the people, or eliminate them. Here's the conversation you'll have with your opposition. Hello, have you heard of this thing? If not, I win. They might say yes, but have you heard of this thing? If not, I win. And that chain you'll keep going. I can barely stand the alcohol I need to drink, the McDonald's I need to eat, for the government to think it's worthwhile just to keep the lights on for me, the ciggies and resin inhaling into my chest from my brethren to prevent the rapture caused by too many middlemen. Have you learned your understanding of things to be true? Contradicting belief is wrong and mean nothing to you? Why are you so sure you got the right idea? Come on, dude. If you're correct, then what am I? An infidel? An incel? Fuck you. You can play a card game in one of two ways, by beating your opponent or forcing victories. Now what if politics were all cards, no games, and that's why Trump's regime cannot win the presidency? I believe that Kamala is equipped to be president. She's already been a senator from California, 8 years in criminal justice to try and circumvent the fact that she's a politician selling a party that's trying to gorge you. Trump bought out RFK, a guy riding on his dynasty. Wasn't elected a second term, he staged a coup on our democracy. He's a businessman and paid actor schooled as far as a bachelor's, which didn't prevent 6 bankruptcies in his long life and career. At the very least, I know Harris can speak on TV. That's something that I have seen at the very least. Donald Trump is a lying con artist trying to peddle steak oil. He just hasn't been the same since that bullet just missed him. I believe in a competition of supremacy, Kamala would win in a fight. A fisticuffs and calling bluffs not currently in the hands of the right. They do not control the military, but with your vote they just might. Agenda 47 in hand, appointees glad for a chance to just say kike. Teaching submission to authority doesn't make for free thinkers, unless you're daring them to make a move. Tell me, preacher. Governance teaches propaganda to work within and not tinker. Submission comes from choosing to give in, being thought there isn't another. Family's there to support you, be there for one another. It isn't blood that bonds commons, but care for each each other. It's scary on your own. Compensations make a bully. Douches like you see on TV, but it ain't happening to you and me. Despite the fact that Trump left the populace sick and dying, starving, homeless, and thirsty, and the world didn't go without trying, but the working people of America proved resilient in their time, but their resilience didn't benefit the lucrativeness of their dime. We fight tooth and nail to keep our rights. It distracts us. Companies puppet this theater to steal from your back pockets. It's a battle on two fronts, which Biden couldn't relieve us. Wars on terror remind us perhaps one day that could be us. Casting shadow clones like Naruto is OP. Like father, like son ain't forbidden as it used to be. Infinite chakra breeding infinite masses, but even with 1 to 3, victory can be claimed if you use it creatively. How can you call it fair if you break the rules? I had to get out of school in order to get schooled. I have spoken too much, but not enough against those who rule. Life's a drag, but you learned learning experience, you fool. Do trust that things are better than they once were, though, from a multi-essential worker's perspective. Ugh, what a mouthful. After listening to Kamala and Tim, I feel a little bit hopeful on continued growth if we choose to elect them, though. I may be a man, but I have predators hunting me, willpower to survive and not succumb to pride preventing me from being preyed upon. It is a benefit of never being a fish too big for the pond, but that was only the case until COVID came along. Sickness in a small town where I didn't know anybody, working as a commuter to flip burgers to fill your belly. Co-workers don't exist unless they're being paid to be. That's why I guess relationships mean what they do to me. I'm doing background checks on the families of reoccurring faces that I'm seeing coming in and out of my family's houses. The extensive research our teachers neglected to mention. I'm watching my school board and councils where I choose to settle in. I hear Kamala's for democracy, something unions seem to mind. She's led a whole career to fight for the rights of victims in some crimes. Donald Trump stages coups, spreads misinformation, campaigns to de-educate the world population, flirts with dictators so his socials are mentioned. The world's a series of dollars for facilitation of tax cuts to big industries like oil, property, and arms dealing to cause the inflation bubble capitalism forces us to be experiencing. Donald Trump told the Christians they need only vote one more time. You elect to stand by while your rights are taken for the cost of covering up his crime. If you elect him now, they won't need to again. They'll have it so fixed there won't be another election. I'm sick of social unrest always happening on school campuses, but it's where you go to learn things, so it's good to pay attention. It opens your eyes to the fact that there are differing methods. During his presidency, Proud Boys would clash with Antifa. Fights would break out in the streets, makes it hard to come out and greet ya. Human rights campaigns fight the GOP and Trump's various administrations, all ending in a shebang of kung flu and paranoia that led to a coup attempt. There was a seriously poor response to the surge of COVID-19. It was made into a talking point to bring up Trump's regime, taking little into account that people were forced from their homes by landlords who didn't want to even help facilitate another being's things. This created a mix, a homeless COVID pandemic that could be stopped only if the lords get compensated. But this was merely one stir in the cauldron of life. Social unrest has been going on for a long time. Donald Trump's entire persona is scandalousness. His supporters conspire theorists who catch up in this mess. Kamala's job before politics was putting men like him in prison. If you don't believe me, why? Let me verify your information. To be a conservative's to admit to being literally old-minded, blindsided by what's after the aftermath of humanity's challenges. So challenge those that you love, those that you don't will fail if you're doing it right. The challenge can meet your level, continued perpetuation all might. It's funny how humans limit life as much as humanly possible to enable a fantasy they think in their minds is somewhat probable. Combat and conquest is daunting, but not to you. It's in pursuit of these ventures that I know there is an end to. Those who can't do, teach, or so they say. Clowning on children for children clowning children is fucking lame. I'll say, I learned that as a child. People do it because it's easy. I'm just saying, I'm looking out for future generations. Aren't you with me? The Biden administration has been supplying both Ukraine and Israel, an unfortunate drawback from our complex of arms to deal. At least he pulled out of Afghanistan, but then again, I can't even tell if that's real. I'm more concerned with not facilitating grief to claim the prophet's ills. I write this for my sister and for the women who had to grow up thinking they were lesser. School shootings haunting halls magnified by peer pressure. To the GOP and all you fucking crackers, I attack you.
Destination, Tara, planet and system of Alpha Centauri.
compromise your enterprise, dare to deny what you testified. Borrowing economies with money to make money and pay them back with police, making stealing sound funny. You decry this life of mine, why do I compromise your enterprise, dare to deny what you testified? Subordination to corporations, operations for the nation stationed at the heart of a population for protection and mention the tension when employed in a profession of laymen and looting and selling it back for the profit in question. And yet it seems the workforce is rather neglected instead of resources siphoned off and divvied up by investors who profit off the process in spite of countless protesters funding a series of lies so you don't think they question their masters. Gaslit to believe there's no other alternative. Time's a commonly laundered commodity, take your sedative. Luxury goods in the free market seem repetitive. Why should they profit off of your life that's yours to live? They never got to live it, lickety split it, begging 50s for status. I banana spit it on the ashes of my past ones. The last one of my forefathers for me for the passion. Pass it on, family rations, a vision contradicting of a being on a mission to be a power to the powers that be. For you see, I'm not convinced that they're done with me. In time I'll find the rhyme of rhymes to claim the room to breathe. Like a breeze. Borrowing economies with money to make money and pay them back with police, making stealing sound funny. You decry this life of mine, why do I compromise your enterprise, dare to deny what you testified? Find there's more to life than some wheat and some rye, my guy, find it in yourself for the health of the commonwealth. To take down from upon the shelf that which was took for self, with help from those in need of help. Fuck what you heard from a bird, maybe that's the word, a bird, absurd. Do you get it? Joker, poker, face over grace, or dirt, cornered in your space, a place to stash kitty snatch. You snap photos of just in case, replace the grown-ups with kids old enough to hide the trace. Like a 1% funnels money made from Lent. If we sent in on the Jensen's pensions, any form of liquidation, allocate the regulation funnel to the population, making bacon on rotation, Bezos begging infiltration. Borrowing economies with money to make money and pay them back with police, making stealing sound funny. You decry this life of mine, why do I compromise your enterprise, dare to deny what you testified? Borrowing economies with money to make money and pay them back with police, making stealing sound funny. You decry this life of mine, why do I compromise your enterprise, dare to deny what you testified? God's irrelevancy is relevant to me in accounting how we see differently, militantly religious to mount bounce on their chest like a name tag, a title for you to pronounce, a name colonizing your mind like the deed to your house. Maybe that's God's purpose, to make a stake and take no breaks. For heaven's sake, we stay united all as one man, to take and consume all that we can, and when we can't, borrowing economies with money to make money and pay them back with police, making stealing sound funny. You decry this life of mine, why do I compromise your enterprise, dare to deny what you testified? Though you try to justify otherwise, the right to life includes health, life and liberty, jubilee, where the cards I was dealt was felt. Spread to thy neighbor to look within themselves and take down what sits upon the shelf. I express myself. Borrowing economies with money to make money and pay them back with police, making stealing sound funny. You decry this life of mine, why do I compromise your enterprise, dare to deny what you testified?